So our next guest is also in the female empowerment space. She connects middle school girls with female leaders in all industries. Her name is Illana Raia, and she's the founder and CEO of Être, the founder and the author of Être, Girls Who Do What You... Girls Who Do You Want to Be? There, I got it right.
Yeah.
How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hold up the book. Let's see.
Hold up the book. Let's see it.
Être is to be in French.
Yeah.
Yes, and the idea is, who do you want to be?
Yeah. Why do you think it is important for these girls to hear directly from female leaders?
It makes a big difference. You know, we tell our girls all the time, you can be anything, set your goals so high. But at exactly the age in middle school, their confidence starts to falter a little bit. And the research bears it out. Between the ages of 11 and 14, their confidence can drop by about 30%. And it's one thing for a parent to say it or a relative, but to stand a girl who's reluctant to raise her hand in math class in front of a woman at Google who says, oh, I was scared to raise my hand when I was your age, and then I got over it, and now I'm an engineer at Google, it just has a different impact, and she will remember it forever.
Middle school is a challenging time. Mm-hmm. It really is. It really is the crossroads in a young person's life. Is that why you chose middle school?
I chose it, in the beginning I chose it when my daughter was in middle school and I was working as a lawyer. I realized that she really did not have a clear sense of what I was doing every day, what my super accomplished friends were doing every day. Like, she was missing it. And I thought, how is it possible we're not showing her enough female role models? So that was the original idea, and I started taking her to lunch with some of my friends. But then when I started really getting into it and looking at the data, I thought, it's not that high school is too late, but middle school is better. If you can catch the girl before she quits her harder class, before she decides not to try out for the next level sports team, what if she didn't quit? And you put her in front of these role models, the confidence, maybe we bolster it a little bit. It's not saying that middle school is suddenly going to be a piece of cake. No. I don't know anyone who, that's exactly the look.
Middle school is rough.
Everyone has that look. If you say to someone, remember middle school, exactly these looks are what you get.
They're still friends with me. I love them to death, but man, it was a challenging time.
But that's why these visits to companies are so important, because there is no woman who isn't going to say, bring me 10 middle school girls. Let me talk to them. Let them see my office and see where I work. Everyone remembers standing in those high tops, and they want to make a difference. So middle school's great for the women who want to give back and for the girls who are ready to be inspired.
Yeah, because I remember my middle school, for example, and a lot of my friends' middle schools. We have something called, some of them called career days. Mm-hmm. Basically, like, bring people from different line of work come to the school to talk about, I'm a barber, and here's what I do. I'm a clerk, and here's what I do, right? And that gives a more tangible idea to all of us. Oh, that's what this job is about. However, now that I think back, it is true that the more technical jobs, they were all guys.
Right. And it's a different step, again, to take the girls into the workplace. The difference with what we're doing is the girls are picking the companies. So, I'm not taking them someplace where they don't understand the product, or they don't use the product, or they don't have a sense of what it is. The very first company that hosted us was Spotify. And
everyone knows what that is.
But the girls are living there, and they wanted to go. And in the beginning, I thought, well, no one from Spotify is going to come visit us. The company was a year and a half old. I said, let's see if we can go to them. Right. And so we've been to Google and YouTube and companies where the girls are either familiar with it. For high school girls, Wall Street firms, we went to the stock exchange. They're getting a real sense of what these jobs look like. But I'm not taking them to companies where they're not already familiar with what it is, and that makes a big difference too.
So our culture needs to change, because really these days girls get more college degrees, and there's more females in the workplace, right? But as you go higher, leadership is where there's less females the higher you go up. How do we change that? And there's a lot of studies that show that, our whole system would probably work better if there were more females in leadership.
For sure. I mean, there's no question that a board is going to be more effective when it's diverse, that more voices in the room and more female voices are going to just lend to the conversation. I think role models early are important. I think having girls be unafraid to talk about money, to talk about negotiating, to talk about asking for a raise. Sometimes there's a gloss of it's impolite for girls to speak about money, or a conversation at the dinner table might get pushed aside. We don't have to talk about that now. Having open, active conversations about what your job is like, talking about how you negotiated your raise, letting our girls see up front how we form allies at work, what a sponsor is. We talk about mentorship for girls as being a teacher or a coach or a woman they meet one day in a company. But talking about what true workplace sponsorship is like is important. And the more they hear it and the more it becomes natural, a girl who raises her hand in the classroom will raise her hand in a boardroom. We have to change the
course, it's a
system.
habit.
Habits
Yeah.
start that early.
I think they do. I mean, let's wait and see. Let's see
It's
what this
never too
generation of
early
girls-
to start that good habit.
It's not,
really
and
good.
we underestimate our younger girls by thinking that they're not up to that or they won't be able to understand these topics. They fully get it.
Oh, come on.
Girls mature faster than men. A 13-year-old female is like a 17-year-old male.
That may very well be.
Glad you said that. Yeah,
It's true.
I agree.
But they'll understand these things. You talk to a girl about cryptocurrency and they understand digital
get it.
currency in a
Yeah.
video game, right? They get it. So let's not underestimate them. Let's challenge them. Let's raise the bar really high and teach them to clear it.
Well, tell us how you wrote the book and tell us about, what you're doing with your organization.
So the book is a collection of articles that I had written for Huffington Post and Thrive Global, Elevate, Mogul, different places. And then we have 40 unbelievable luminary women who gave quotes or interviews for the book. And maybe my favorite part of the book, 50 girls whose quotes are right next to the women. So you might have a CEO's quote right here, and then right next to it, a 13-year-old's quote. The book, it's called To Be, and each chapter is keyed off of that. Be Smart has STEM resources. Be Strong is all about sports. Be Charitable is all about philanthropy. You're not too young to have a philanthropic impact and make a difference. Maybe it's on social media and you're not raising the money, but you're raising awareness. So the book is really a compilation. It's very Instagrammy. It's bright. It's easy. It's the big sister in a
Great for young
backpack.
people.
Yeah.
It is. And the organization is growing organically
daughter
with the
doing?
girl. My daughter now is 22 and she is a rock star of her own and she came hardwired that way. But the women that we met when I introduced her to these women as a child, I think made an impact. I really do.
Well, Illana, thank you for the work you do and thank
Thank
you
you
for
so much.
illuminating this conversation.
Yeah,
All the
thank
best to
you.
you.
Thanks so much for having me.